You are listening to the Prosper Law Podcast. Learn how to reduce stress, have more time, and make more money. Come on in.
I'm Greg McCollum, and I built a 7-figure criminal defense law firm. I formed Prosper Law to show criminal defense law firm owners who are desperate for success how to grow from under $200,000 to $1 million and beyond. Hi, welcome back. I'm Greg McCollum, here to talk to you about another aspect of something to consider when you're running your law firm. As you know, Prosper Law coaches primarily criminal defense lawyers, and so that's something that we try to focus on. That's not to say that if you're not a criminal lawyer or a family lawyer that the coaching program or the podcast is worthless to you. It may have some value to you. But when we created Prosper Law, we really wanted to bring something to people that needed it that was practice specific. I've been in a lot of coaching programs. I've had a lot of mentors and people that taught me, but I never really had something that was specific that would involve the things that I had done in my law firm, things that work, because every type of practice is a little bit different. There's a lot that's the same. There's some things that may apply or not apply. There are a lot of things that are extremely helpful, but then there are also things that, in seminars and things I've been to, they just weren't practice specific enough. So it's a really narrow approach that we're taking, and it's based on the skills and knowledge and expertise that we developed being in the law firm and doing that. So having said that, welcome to today's podcast. I'm Greg McCollum. Thank you for being here. Today I would like to talk about what I'm going to call the compound effect. And that is, if you do the right thing in an extremely small way, consistently over time, and over time I mean probably not even months, but years, where you do the same thing consistently, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, what happens is, while you're doing it, it seems like nothing's happening. It seems like no progress is being made. But what you don't know, and what I didn't know until I learned this, is that I was making progress. And the word compound effect I get from a book that I read or actually listened to on audiobooks. And so I went back, I was thinking about this topic, I went back and listened to a little bit of it because there was an example in there. And by the way, the book is called The Compound Effect. It's written by a guy named Darren Hardy. And he talks about this, and he uses an example. It's early in the book. It's one of the early chapters, and he calls it 3 friends. And he takes the example of 3 guys who all make, I think he says in his example, they all make about $50,000 a year. They're all married. They all have basically the same physical body type. They have the same health. They're all basically the same. And he gives them names. I can't remember the names, but the one guy, he goes through his life, he goes through his daily life of just doing the same thing. He doesn't do anything better or worse. He doesn't have extremely bad habits. He just lives what we call a normal life. He doesn't have good habits where he's trying to improve himself or do anything different. The other guy, in the middle, he decides that he's going to do a couple of things. One is he's going to listen to some lesson or podcast or something that's going to help him improve. Maybe it's something he finds on the internet or he's following somebody. And so when he goes to work for that 20-minute drive each day, Monday through Friday, say, he's just getting that information. He's learning something that will make him grow. And the other thing he does, or there's actually two other things he does. One is that he decides to cut out, and I think in the book he says he cuts out 150 calories a day, which was something like not eating like an extra serving of cereal or something like that, or maybe not drinking a soda one time. So like if he drank 3 sodas a day or something, one time he would substitute a water or seltzer water or something for the soda. And then the other thing was he wasn't going to start an exercise program. He wasn't going to join a gym, or he wasn't going to start doing something. He wasn't going to start running, 10Ks or anything like that. He was just going to get an extra, I think it was 2,000 steps in a day. In other words, he just makes sure that he got those extra 2,000 steps, which is, not even a mile, I think. I'm not sure how many steps it is, but it's, there's that program where some people follow and some people do, where you check your phone and because you want to get 10,000 steps a day. So when I've done that, sometimes I've had the 10,000 steps, and other times I think I had, less than 2,000, or less than 1,500, where I just went to work and didn't go anywhere or do anything. I didn't take a walk, I didn't do anything. So it's just a little bit there. And so he's just made those slight changes. The third guy does a couple of small things. He's interested in, I think in the book he says that he bought a big flat screen TV, and he liked watching the cooking channel. Not that there's anything wrong with the cooking channel. And so he learned how to make, cheesy casseroles and stuff like that, which were delicious, and maybe did some baking. And he got a lot of positive feedback about that from people in his family and friends that love those things. And so he just started eating a little bit extra, which went in with the cooking. So it's a good thing, but he's just eating a little bit more. He's not he's not the first guy who's just doing the same, nothing changed. He's not the second guy who has this tiny little incremental improvement in his life. So then I think the third guy also built a bar in his house, man cave or something like that, and then started sampling like a new alcohol where he'd try a new drink every week. So they're just going along. And in the book, the author talks about, if you look at them after a month or 2 months, nothing's changed. There's absolutely no difference between the three of them. The one guy is eating more, he's drinking more, he's exercising a little bit less. The middle guy's got a little bit of movement in what he's doing, and the first guy is the same. And so in this book, The Compound Effect, and this, I remember when I first started doing some things, when I first started, reading books and listening to my coaching program. I don't know if they were podcasts then, but I could get my hands on audiobooks. And so I would listen to those things when I was either out jogging or walking or driving somewhere to court or wherever. So when I heard this, I remember thinking that it was so encouraging to think that I could that something was happening, because in my life, really nothing seemed to be changing. And you wonder, what's it all for? But in the book example, in The Compound Effect, he talks about I think it's 20, 24 months or something like that, you start to see some changes. So think about that. This is incremental progress. And it's different. There's incremental progress, but there's also quantum leap. So that's not to say that this is the only way things happen, because in my life, they've happened both ways. But this is something that is a predictable result if you make these tiny changes. And then in the book, he says by, say, 3 years, or actually I think he says 31 months, and the way he comes up with that is he's got an equation that he figures this out. The one guy who is exactly the same is the same. Now, interestingly, he's also the most unhappy. He's the most frustrated because literally nothing is changing in his life. His life is not getting better. His life is not getting worse. It's just the same. It's just this monotonous, my life really has no meaning. I'm just the same. Nothing's changing. Nothing good is, quote, happening in my life. The middle guy has lost, I think in the example, just by taking out these, I think, 150 calories a day over the course of almost 3 years, he's lost about 30 pounds. Okay, he's 30 pounds lighter. And when people see him and talk to him, it's like, oh, what happened? You went on a diet. I really didn't do anything, because it was so minor. And I may have confused up the guys. If I did, I apologize. But the third guy, he's gained about 30 pounds. So for the first guy, he's about 30 pounds heavier than that guy. But for the guy in the middle who did those small things, he's 30 pounds lighter. So now when you look at them, this third guy is 60 pounds heavier than the guy in the middle. And that's the concept or idea that what you do daily, either good or bad, is going to have a profound effect on your life and in your life over time. And I think probably we all know that. So I think, to me, the most reassuring or almost startling revelation for me, when I was doing things that were improving my life, it gave me some assurance and made me feel better about just keep doing it. Because many times when you start doing something, and it almost seems like when you start doing something positive, you get more negative feedback than vice versa. There's some reasons for that. We can talk about that. But when you start doing something, then people that know you, family, friends, sometimes say, well, why are you doing that? Why don't you just enjoy yourself? That's a hassle. Why do you get up? Why do you get up every morning and read and study? Or why do you insist on going for this walk? It's not doing anything. And so you actually can get a lot of discouragement from people, and I don't know if they're really actively intending to discourage you. They may actually be trying to think they're helping you because you're just doing this and nothing's happening. But it's important to know that once you start learning and growing and you do it over time, something is happening. So don't quit. Don't stop. Keep going. Keep doing it, because you don't know it's working, but it is working. And the other part of that is, we all know people who go on a diet and they get out there and it's extreme and it's difficult and they make some progress, and then at some point they give up because it's too much. It's not a minor change. And I've experienced that in my life, but I've also experienced these kind of miraculous results from this concept of the compound effect. So when I look at people I know, and if I look at people, I could look at people in terms of their wealth, their spiritual growth, their peace of mind, their law practice, all of those things. When I look at where I started and where I was, and I could compare myself to 20 or 30 lawyers that I know, that I've known a long period of time, I'm in a very different place than they are, and I can see this so clearly when I look at where they are and where they could have been. And so because, and I also would stress this, that this is, for this to work, it has to be consistent. For this to move the needle, so to speak, or for this to change your life, you have to do it over and over and over and over and keep doing it. You do it on a schedule, it's your mindset, then it becomes a habit. And that's another topic, the habits. You get where you're going in life, not so much from willpower or struggle or great achievement, but you get where you're becoming who your future self is through your habits. Habits change us more than anything. So it requires a persistent, very small, and that's what I really love about this book, is it's such a small change, and it's something that's easy to do and something that you don't mind doing or I don't mind doing. But over time, it's working. And if you do it, know that it's working, even though you can't see it, even though other people cannot see it, know it's working. And you see it, if you see it all around you, really, because when you look at people who do this, then in terms of business, in terms of athletes, if you think about, say, college athletes that are at a high level, if you think about, say, television stars or movie stars or things like that, everyone thinks they're overnight successes. They think that they did something and all of a sudden they blow up, they're big, maybe they're famous, and that they're an overnight success. Well, they're not an overnight success. It's just nobody noticed. Because if somebody is quietly doing these things, and whether they tell people they're doing it or not, probably couldn't get anybody to listen anyway, but they're consistently doing the thing when it seems like nothing's happening, until all of a sudden, like the guy that's 30 pounds heavier versus the guy that's 30 pounds lighter, now all of a sudden, for just, a regular guy, same size, same height or whatever, that's an astonishing change. So now, a few years later, it's obvious. And now people want to know what you did, or now they may even be jealous or something like that. So all of a sudden, somebody who is so successful, it happened because they, quote, put in the work. But they didn't just put in the work, they put in the consistency, they put in the habits. And the beauty of this is you don't have to do that much to change over time. Now, how do you do this? One of the ways you do this is you just make a simple choice. So, in the way I've been taught this, and the way it's been explained to me, is that we all have it's 168 hours in a week, and for billionaires and people that are highly successful, maybe famous people, they don't have any more time than we do. Warren Buffett doesn't have any more time than I do. Elon Musk doesn't have any more time than you do. So what do they do? How do they live, and what do they do? And one of the things is that you make a choice. They made the choices. You can make a choice. And it's this idea or concept of you can't do two things. You're going to have to do one thing. And you have to decide. And you make these decisions every day. You make these decisions constantly all day. So let's say you're going to watch, you want to watch your favorite Netflix show versus you're going to go spend 30 minutes reading your book, or you're going to go spend 30 minutes working on something that's important to you that will move you forward. So the idea is that you're giving up something of a lower nature to choose something of a higher nature. So you have to give up something that's worth less to you, something that's not going to move you in the direction you want to go. So you give that up and just pick something of a higher nature that will help you. And that's a choice you make. That's a choice I make. That's a choice I make daily. It's a choice I make when I set my calendar for what my life is going to look like. What am I going to be doing? What am I going to sit and watch my favorite shows? And don't get me wrong, I love my favorite shows. I go binge Netflix like everybody else, but I don't do it all the time. I do it when I'm in a place where I feel like or know that I deserve it, or I do it when I need a break because I need to take a mental vacation, or I do it if I'm sick and can't get off the sofa or something like that, or I do it regularly. I have a movie night with my daughters, and that's something that we do. So I do it. I'm not saying that you have to turn your life into some kind of misery machine to get somewhere. And that's going back to the compound effect. It's just a small change. A lot of small changes add up to something big. The other thing is you have to get anywhere, you have to set a goal. You have to set a destination. If you're going somewhere in a car, or you're going somewhere to walk, if you're going to, let's say that in your neighborhood you're going to walk to this, and this seems so stupid, but I think it's important when you think of it, and maybe you know this, and probably do, but anyway, so if you say, well, I'm going to walk to the store on Saturday morning, and I'm going to walk to the store instead of driving my car, or I'm going to ride my bike to the store, and I'm going to get, a jug of milk or something, or I'm going to get something, then you don't get the gallon of milk because you just wandered around the neighborhood hoping to find a gallon of milk, and if you do that, you're not going to find it. You have a goal, you have an intention. I'm going to go to that store. I'm going to take the long way or whatever I'm going to do. I'm going to walk over there and I'm going to get it and I'm bring it back. Mission accomplished. So in order to ever achieve a goal, in order to ever get to your destination, you have to have a destination. You have to set a goal. And so these steps in the compound effect will get you there if you have a goal. And goals need to be concrete. They need to be fixed. It needs to be something measurable. It needs to be something that you can explain or declare. And goals are not something like, I'm going to get better. I'm going to be better. I'm going to make more money. I'm going to be a better person. Those aren't really goals. Because in the one sense, you could say, well, I am a better person. because of this. So it's not meaningless, but that's not a goal, because how will you know if you're a better person? How will you know when you've achieved that? What are you talking about? I want to make a lot of money. What's a lot of money? Is it $1 million a year? Is it a salary of $100,000 a year? Because if you want to make more money and then you're making, say, $50,000 a year, and now all of a sudden you've done some things that are good and you're making $110,000 a year, did you achieve your goal, or is your goal still, I want to make more money? Because now you never hit it. You never get credit. You feel like you didn't get anywhere. I want to make more money. It's not a good goal. It needs to be specific. It needs to be concrete. And also some timeline of realistically when you think you could hit that. Now, so you have the goal. It's something that you want. You follow the steps, and you use the compound effect to incrementally, persistently over time get you there, even when you think nothing's happening. Also, and I was in a mastermind group here recently with I think there was about 8 people in there, and these people impress me so much, and these people are doing so many things that I aspire to do, and they're doing them. And they're laying out the steps for me, and they're showing us what to do. And we get so excited, and we get so fired up, and we're ready to just go do it all and just conquer the world this afternoon and get these great results. And as the people in my mastermind group were explaining to us what we need to do and how we need to implement, one of the things they said to me, which surprised me, because these people are hyper successful. These people are go-getters. These people just are moving through life and changing the world around them and doing great things, and they have a good life, and they make a lot of money, and they're just hyper successful. And when I met them, I admire them so much. But one of them said, as you do this and you're formulating your plan, slow down. And it took me a minute to even hear it. Like, no, I want to go, go, go. And they said, or she said, slow down and get quiet. And I've followed that advice, and I've done that more and more now, and it's amazing. When I'm frantically trying to get where I want to go, and my mind is racing, and I could do this or I could do this, and I haven't done that yet, and why haven't I done that yet, and when are we going to do that, and why haven't we done that yet? When I slow down and get quiet, I start to gain clarity. And I end up making more progress and doing better work is when I slow down and get quiet. So 2 takeaways: what you do daily changes your life for the good or the better. Getting to the goal is great, but once you get to achieve a goal, then you need another goal. So what is really important to me is the destination is not really as important as the journey. Am I on a journey where I'm growing and learning and helping people and improving the lives of those around me? Because that's really, in my estimation, that's really what life is that be present in the journey, slow down, be aware of what you're doing, and use the compound effect and positive actions, and it will change your life even though it seems like nothing is happening. Okay, thanks for listening. See you next time. If you want to know more, go to prosperitlaw.com. We show criminal defense law firm owners how to reduce stress, have more free time, and make more money. Thanks for listening.